mean, that's actually Quentin's real philosophy.
I don't tip.
You don't tip?
No, I don't believe in it.
That's how he really feels about tipping. But now I'm going to be the one that's stuck with the reputation once the movie comes out.
Here's a guy who seemed to be the only one asking the real questions.
We think we got a rat in the house.
I guarantee we got a rat in the house.
A guy who people called selfish because he wouldn't play the loyalty game after the plan exploded.
Nobody wants this. We're supposed to be professionals.
But when you look closer, he's the only person who read the situation right.
It's human nature. You panic. I don't care what your name is. You can't help it.
The movie drops us in after the damage is done, so there's no myth left to hide behind. By the time Pink sprints into the story, he's past pretending this is a cool job with a code.
You really think we were set up?
Do you even doubt it, man? 1 minute they're not there and the next minute they're there? I didn't hear any sirens.
In a room full of men who are trained to act like they've got this under control, he's the only one who treats control without the attitude.
Are you gonna bark all day, little doggy? Or are you gonna bite?
Oh, Christ. Hey, look.
That's why he reads as annoying to the others. He refuses to let performance set the terms, and he's not slowing down for anyone else's pride. The diner scene tells you exactly how he thinks before anything goes wrong.
What do you mean you don't tip?
They don't believe in it.
Shut up.
The tipping debate isn't just about a couple dollars. It's a clean read on how he handles value and obligation. He wants proof that giving something up gets you something back.
They make minimum wage. I wasn't lucky enough to have a job the society deemed tip-worthy.
It's petty when you first hear it, but it's also honest. That same framework shows up in the warehouse. Why are we meeting here if there's cops around? Why trust anyone who can't explain their story?
Taking his side?
No! Sides, man, what we need here is a little solidarity.
Why hand the bag to a man bleeding out his ability to decide?
And I'm very sad about that, but some fellas are lucky and some ain't.
Buscemi's physical choices make all of this work. He paces in short lines, sets his feet at angles, and keeps his hands busy. Not to look quirky, but to keep his head clear. Other actors in that room play width. Big stances, heavy pauses, the sense that they control the frame by occupying it. But Buscemi gives up the illusion of dominance to keep the only advantage that's still real. He's processing information faster than the people trying to look tough.
What are we on a playground here, huh? Am I the only professional?
That's why the clashes with Mr. White are so important. White is all feeling wrapped in a code that used to make sense. Protect your partner, show loyalty, die if you have to. Pink doesn't operate with the same emotions.
What you don't do is start shooting up the place and start killing people.
Something went wrong with Precision, which means the cops had information, which means there's a leak. He doesn't need names yet to act like someone's listening, and as a result, he takes precautions.
Maybe he could tell us who the set us up.
He hides the diamonds, won't give up his gun, and argues for fewer people and fewer variables.
Who's got the stones? Please.
I stashed it like we were sure this place wasn't a police station.
White perceives that as a character flaw because White's definition of character is tied to sacrifice.
And I don't want any talk about yourself personally.
I told him my first name and where I was from.
Pink hears it as survival because his definition of character is tied to telling yourself the truth when no one else will. The movie keeps proving him right.
What was telling him your name when you weren't supposed to?
We had just gotten away from the cops. He just got shot.
The cops are close. There is a rat. The hideout isn't safe. The more the others lean on the old code, the worse their choices get.
But you're wrong.
Like hell I am.
He's a good kid.
Pink's so-called paranoia is just clean thinking under pressure.
So he's freaking out, but with good reason. And he's right about what's happened.
He says the quiet part out loud because it's the only way to cut through the habit where men like this confuse volume with certainty.
We're all real emotional, but you're barking up the wrong tree.
It's also where the humor lands. He's funny, but he never lets the joke wipe the tension.
Well, I used to do stand-up. I mean, that's how I started out.
The lines come out fast and clipped, like he's trying to step ahead of the next bad decision.
You're acting like a first-year thief. I'm acting like a professional.
You laugh because he's blunt. You stay tense because the room isn't listening. Watch how he tests people. He rarely swallows a statement whole. He restates, nudges, and waits for the leak in the story. When White doubles down on orange, Pink keeps poking the logic instead of making it personal.
Well, I know you're the f***ing rat.
All right, now you're using your head.
When Joe and Eddie show up, he doesn't try to posture back. He's the only one in the room willing to trade image for advantage, which is why his low physical status quietly becomes high narrative status. He can change course without choking on ego.
Mr. Pink, let's move on.
I'll move on when I feel like it.
The final triangle, White's faith in Orange, Joe's faith in his own read, and Eddie's faith in Joe, plays out like something inherited, not earned. That's how codes operate. They pass down, then go unchecked.
You're making a terrible mistake I'm not gonna let you make.
Pink is the only person in the room who treats belief like it costs something.
Nobody wants this.
When the guns rise, he aims at the exit. People love to call that cowardice. It's not, it's clarity. The movie keeps our eyes on the men who draw lines and die on them. Pink is somewhere off frame, making the choice that people don't cheer for because it doesn't look cinematic. It's just the most rational. The off-screen chaos after he slips out is the perfect finish to his arc. If those shouts and sirens are him getting grabbed, it isn't because he was wrong, it's because the swarm finally closed in. He's the man who looked like the least heroic option in every moment and still came off like the only adult in a room full of theater. There's also an ethics test baked in here. What do you value more in a disaster? Loyalty even when it's blind, or reason even when it makes you look bad?
Let's try and figure out who the bad guy is, alright?
White is moving because sacrifice moves people. Orange is tragic because we understand how a lie can become a life. Joe and Eddie carry authority and family and hierarchy. Pink doesn't ask for your admiration, he just wants your attention. He points out the leak, the sirens, the bad meeting spot, the risk in protecting a man you don't know, and he's right more often than not.
Look, we think this place ain't safe.
You can still hate his tone. The movie lets you sit with that. Is the guy who saves himself while telling the truth worse than the guy who dies believing a story that never matched the facts? Buscemi sells all of this without turning it into a sermon. He stays fast, precise, and a little abrasive because that's the only way a voice like his gets heard over people who confuse volume with leadership. If he sounded soothing, they might listen, and the whole thing would unwind differently. The friction is part of why the character works. Truth arrives in a package no one in that room finds flattering, and that makes it easier to ignore.
I mean, the man was dying in my arms. What the f was I supposed to do?
It's easy to imagine a neater version of this character. The tidy narrator who explains the plot, makes the wise calls, and stands in the center of every frame. But that's not Mr. Pink. He wins by never letting the conversation drift too far from the facts and by keeping a hand on the only thing that still trades for freedom. Reservoir Dogs is full of rituals.
Oh, you guys like to tell jokes and giggle and kid around, huh?
Names, suits, rules, and hierarchies. These are supposed to elevate thieves into something larger. Pink refuses that elevation. He treats the job like a job gone bad. He doesn't mythologize the room. No grandstanding, no famous last words, no pose. He wants a clean line out.
He's supposed to be here, but he ain't, which is making me very nervous about being here.
In a crisis, the useful skill isn't sounding brave, it's staying clear. You don't have to like him. The film doesn't ask you to. It just keeps showing you the cost of ignoring him.
What the f are you talking about?
Whether you hear his arrest in those sirens or picture him disappearing with the diamonds, the impression sticks. He's the one person in that room who never lied to himself about what that room had turned into. That's why he survives. He's a simple test you carry into other films. Are we cheering for a code because it feels dramatic, or for choices that actually work? Reservoir Dogs doesn't lecture you. It lets the blood, the shouting, and the off-screen audio do the verdict. Buscemi's job is to make the character of the rat who's the voice of reason impossible to deny. He does it without smoothing the edges, without asking for sympathy, and without pretending this world rewards anything more than attention, speed, and the nerve to act before the room decides your fate for you.
I'm glad you liked it. Nice to meet you.